Hello, everyone. I have the extreme pleasure of speaking with Alicia Jarrett today of Supercharged Offers and really just digging into your founder's journey. Would love to learn from what you've learned and how you've grown and any wisdom you've accumulated along the way.
Hi,
So,
Lauren. Thanks so much for having me here. I love just even in that sentence, you've put learn, grow, and wisdom. I mean, my goodness, we could talk about a lot to do with those. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so share a bit about who you are, what you do, and what your, I guess, current situation is, and then we'll
yeah.
time travel.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, as your listeners can probably tell from the accent, I am an Aussie, not English, not New Zealander, an Aussie, but have been doing business in the US now for 7 years. So, currently, I'm speaking to you all from the future. It's currently Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Nice.
And we've been getting up pretty early for the last, 7 years to do all of our deals in the US. So, what we do. Essentially we've got two things. So essentially on one hand, Lauren, I say we, myself and my business partner Matt, we are real estate investors in the US. We've done everything from fix and flipping houses and small multifamily, and now we focus on vacant land as our asset class there. But more than that, that kind of ticks along in the background there, but more than that, we are co-founders of Supercharged Offers. So Supercharged Offers is a real estate data and marketing service for all the real estate investors out there who want to have a fractional marketing team, someone to do their data, their direct mail, their digital marketing, all of those elements they can outsource to us. And I'm really proud to say that that's been going for more than 4 years, and we've got more than 200 customers across 9 countries, all doing deals in the US. So in terms of working internationally, got that covered. So that's a little bit about what we do. And let me stop there and let you guide where you want that to go, because that can go in 100 directions.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much for waking up bright and early. I'm assuming that's coffee or some kind of caffeine.
This is a cup of tea, and you are my 4th call for the day. I start work at 5 a.m. So you're all good. I'm partway through my day already, Lauren.
You're a rock star, is what I'm hearing. I freaking love that. And how cool is that? You are, I wouldn't say fully global, but you're on the track to be fully global, like everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
no, I guess I'd say that we are fully global, because even if I think about our team, so
Yeah,
in Supercharged Offers, we have 14 team members, and even they spread across 6 different countries.
I love it.
So, we are global. Our customers are anywhere from the US to Europe, Asia, the Americas. Like, we've literally got customers everywhere. So I can be doing calls at 5 a.m. in the morning to our customers in the US, and then 6 o'clock that night, I'm doing a call with our customers in Germany or Israel. So, yeah, I think we are global. I think we can safely say that.
Freaking love that. Awesome. That's beautiful. I love that you have all these different cultures involved and intertwined. So let's go back in time and let's actually start at the beginning of Supercharged Offers. And I'm curious what inspired that vision, that growth in that direction.
Yeah.
What
Just like any business out there, a lot of businesses are born out of a need. So whether or not that's your own need, or it's the need of an industry or a niche that's telling you that something is missing, for us, it was actually all of the above. So as real estate investors ourselves, we were just noticing, Lauren, that there was a lot of inconsistency with what some of the real estate educators out there tell people how to do their businesses. Well, let me correct that. A lot of real estate educators out there are really good at teaching people how to do a deal, but they're not that great at teaching people how to run businesses when it
oh
comes
my
to real estate investing, right?
gosh.
And both myself and my business partner, Matt, we come from business backgrounds. We've run companies. We've got corporate experience as well as running our own companies and things. And we were just noticing in our own real estate business this inconsistency. And what I mean by that is we were told, go and download some information and send out some direct mail and then wait. We'd get some deals and we'd focus on those deals, and we'd try and get those deals sold to get the return on investment, and all our time and energy would go into that. But then we'd turn back to the pipeline and it was empty, because there's only so much that you can do on a daily basis. So we were experiencing, I call it the roller coaster ride, Lauren. It's like, some months we had deals and they closed. It was great. And then for 1 or 2 months, there'd be nothing. And then it would be back up again. And we were just looking at our own business going, yeah, this is not the roller coaster ride we wanted. We wanted the roller coaster to stay up all the time.
Going up.
So we just started to really think about, well, what would that look like? Like if we were to have an acquisitions engine that was always running for us, that we were always generating leads and deals, what would that look like? And so we just sat back and started to design our ultimate system for that. Purely, Lauren, I'll say this selfishly, we implemented it just for us because that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then we were part of a mastermind group at the time, and a few people in there started to notice what we were doing. And they're like, this stuff that you guys are doing, can you implement that for me? And then Supercharged Offers was born. So we really started with just the idea of increasing our own business efficiency. And now we do that for every other real estate investor that works with us.
How beautiful is that? And wow, like I can't agree anymore with the idea that in real estate investing, they're really good at helping you find a deal. It's kind of good at chasing the money, the carrot, the money, right? But no one's talking about how to have that solid business structure, foundation, and how to really manage that piece. I've been talking about this a lot lately. So it's really cool that you guys created this.
I'm with you, Lauren. I think it also for me comes back to that principle of you can't do it all. So that whole premise of, jack of all trades, master of none. If you're trying to be a jack of all trades, being that you're trying to be a data expert, a direct mail expert, understand how websites and sales funnels work, understand how to do email automation, how to build your social profile. And on top of all that, trying to speak with sellers and speak with buyers and do deals, you literally can't do it all. And if you could do it all, that's fantastic. But I guess the challenge I want to put out to listeners is if you're currently in the position that you are doing all of that, my question is, how well are you doing it? And is it getting you the result that you're wanting? Because just imagine for a moment, if you, as a real estate investor, if you were to spend all of your time and energy focused on doing the deal, speaking with sellers, speaking with buyers, building relationships and doing deals, all this other stuff, if you were to outsource that to someone who knows what they're doing so you can get more time efficiency and therefore more deal flow, what difference would that make to your business?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then if you think about it too, even the little things I'm considering, right? Like your relationships and your personal life. And you're literally getting your life back. So that's
pretty much. We have a lot of customers say that to us. It's like, not only have you now got my business consistent, but I'm more balanced. It's like, oh, that's great.
That is so beautiful. So, okay. With that said, I'm curious, how fast was the growth process in your business? Was it something that really was short and maybe slow to rise, or what did that look like for you guys?
Really good question. I'm going to answer this in two fronts. I'll talk about what was and now what is. So if I think about what was, we were pretty slow to start because we were really trying to tweak and get our products and systems and things really working in the way that we wanted to. So often when you are starting a new business that is a product or service-based business and there's a demand in the industry that you're in for that, you will come up with something. But once your customers start using it, you need to go through a process of, iterations, releases, feedback loops, things like that to really refine your processes and your systems. And that's an evolution that will never stop. Because as things grow and develop, so do the needs of your customers and what they want to achieve too. So it has been a slow burn, but that has also come with a huge, I'm going to pat myself on the back here, because in the last 4 years, we have not advertised for customers once. It's all been referral and repeat business, which is amazing. So that tells us we're doing something right.
Yeah.
That we've never had to go out there and kind of sell our services or run ads or things like that. So that's kind of what was. We've gotten where we are, a bit of a slower burn because we just let that evolve. We're now at the stage, though, that we are, what's next is we are in the process of creating VSLs, webinars, a complete dedicated sales funnel for supercharged offers. So future us wants to grow the business a lot bigger than what it is today, which is really exciting, adding more products and services on, because we're now at the stage that we've got that following. You know, we've got people that love us and stick with us and are getting fantastic results. So now let's maximize that. And I think in business, Lauren, you've got to wait for that tipping point. Like, I know a lot of businesses out there, and you probably speak to a lot in what you do, that will spend a lot of time, money, and energy up front doing a lot of these, you know, building out sales funnels and employing salespeople and spending a lot of money on ads. But if they haven't really proven their concept yet and they don't know what the market wants, sometimes that can be a huge waste. So I'm actually glad that we waited until now.
That you literally just answered my next question. So I love that. Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah. I find that intuitively, a lot of people, they go one of two ways. They either try to build, and then they realize afterwards, oh, look, this isn't working. But the
not
more
what the market wanted, or
the more intelligible, conscious, slow and steady, but stronger foundation build is what you're saying, right? That you're getting that organic growth and you're allowing it to water and nurture itself just organically. And that's beautiful, really.
And by doing that, listening to our customers about what they want.
Absolutely.
You know, that's been really pivotal, because we are also our own customer, because we still use all of our own products and services in our business. So really tapping into that, I think, is hugely important.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. So wonderful stuff. I'm so glad that we're sharing this message with people as well. But my next question, I want to harp on, what were some personal roadblocks or challenges or maybe mental limitations that you had to personally, we all have them. None of us are void of that, whether or not we want to admit it out loud, you know, but I'm curious, if you don't mind sharing, how you dealt with that, how you overcame it, because as we know, where you're at internally directly impacts your business growth as well too. So
100%. Yeah, 100%. I'm going to be really, really open and honest with you about this, because I do think that it helps for people to hear it, because the road as an entrepreneur and a business owner is not easy. And it's not easy from an internal and an external perspective. So from an external perspective, it's all the challenges of setting up a business, getting your customers to fall in love with you and stick with you, you know, building out products and services, taking risks being emotional and financial risks, and all of these things that go with that. So you've got the external environment driving a whole bunch of stuff, but then there's our internal environment. And this is where I think we're all wired quite differently. Like my business partner, Matt, and I, we both recognize that we're very different from an internal perspective. So my internal perspective, I had to really overcome imposter syndrome quite early. So imposter syndrome being, I don't have a background in marketing. I don't have a background in business development. My background is actually in organizational development, you know, running my own consulting practice, HR, people stuff, leadership. That's my background. So for me to switch to become a marketing company, I was the imposter syndrome in me, Lauren, was, well, wait a minute, Alicia, you don't know this. This is not your background. And I had to really overcome that by thinking, well, everybody gets to their level of expertise from a place of zero. We all start from nothing and build it as we go. And we're building our knowledge, our confidence, our processes, our systems, a whole range of things. So overcoming that imposter syndrome early and standing strong in my confidence of, even if I don't know what the answer is, I will go and find it out. And that is part of my growth and journey as well. So now I can really confidently stand in my shoes and say, yeah, I do own a data and marketing company. And whilst I don't know it all, and by the way, you don't have to know it all, but I know enough to be dangerous, and I know enough to speak with confidence. So even recently, I had the imposter syndrome kick in, because about 7 weeks ago, I spoke at a conference, so the Hero Summit with Tim Mai, which was wonderful. I was the only female speaker for the whole 3 days. Just before I went on stage, again, the imposter syndrome kicked in, and I had to say to myself, excuse me, Lauren, I was like, ooh, am I the right person to be on that stage? Like, do I know enough to speak with confidence? And it still happens, right? I think it's there to protect us in some way too. But I got on stage, I did an awesome keynote for like half an hour, and I actually got the full edited recording of it a few weeks ago. And as much as our own voices do freak us out when we listen, I watched the entire thing, and I got to say, Lauren, I got to it and I was like, you kicked ass. You did so well. So sometimes what we think internally versus what we then go back and look at, they're often two different things. So I think imposter syndrome was a big one. But then obviously handling stress and anxiety, like that's a big thing when you're a business owner, and learning different coping mechanisms and strategies for overcoming that.
So freaking true. And I just want to give you feedback because I was at the Heroes event and you did an amazing job. One thing I love the most, just to reinforce, you have just this wonderful energy about you where it's very like magnetic almost. And I feel like that drew me in. Just being around that energy, you can tell that you love what you do. You're very passionate about it. And I mean, if anything, that was huge. I find that to be
Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did a wonderful job. I didn't even
I really appreciate that.
But you were the only female. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's insane. But yeah. And absolutely I can resonate with a lot of the things that you're saying. I tell everybody it's a muscle,
Yeah.
It's just like I tell my daughter, she's turning 10 this year, and I've been telling her since she was a baby, you can learn anything, and really it's all just about repetition and practice and getting better at it. And really nothing is impossible at the end of the day. It's
Correct.
just how much you want to do and how much work you're willing to actually put in. So
100%. And you can say that for every single person on the planet. We look at these people that are really big and successful and all of that. And it's like a lot of people go, oh, wow, they're so lucky to get there. And I was like, it's not luck. It's repetition, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. It's all of those things. And everybody started from a place of zero. Everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that perception. One of my old mentors used to say he was an overnight 10-year success. Like it's overnight, but it's 10 years worth of work most of the time, but give or take.
Agreed.
Everyone's different, but
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That was great. What would be, knowing that everybody who's listening here, what would be your biggest advice or wisdom nugget or takeaway from your entire, I like to call it the founder's adventure so far?
I like that, adventure. Yeah.
It truly is an adventure. So what would be the thing that if you had 5 minutes of time and it was the only thing you could tell somebody, would want them to hear and know during that time?
Yeah. I don't know who once said this. So whoever did say it way back in history, I give them credit. But it's that whole concept of feel the fear and do it anyway. Right. Because you will have moments that fear will kick in. And that fear might present itself in imposter syndrome, or I'm not good enough yet, or I don't know enough yet, or this is a big risk that I'm about to take, and it's outside my financial comfort zone or my knowledge comfort zone. That fear is always going to be there, and it's there for a reason, because our fear center in our brain is really about protecting us, and it's trying to tell us, with our amygdala, it's trying to say, do you want to run or do you want to stay still? Like it's there, right? Yep. So feel the fear, do it anyway, because what you'll notice is if you just acknowledge the fear, but have that little conversation with yourself to go, look, thank you. I acknowledge that you're there for a reason, but I'm going to give this a go anyway. I guarantee that 99% of the time after the fact, you'll be like, don't know what I was fearful about, because that wasn't anywhere near as hard as what I thought. And that happens to me on a daily basis. Like even sometimes an email will pop up and I'll go, oh, don't know where to start with that one. So do I just leave it and come back to it in 3 days' time? No, just do it anyway. There's just put your best foot forward and keep going. I think the other thing is, if I could spend a moment talking about this, is the whole percentage of business owners that don't make it. And you would come across this a lot, Lauren, that there's a tipping point for businesses that, if you're in business and you make it past year 1, you got a pretty good chance. If you make it past year 2, you got a great chance. If you're on year 3 and onwards, you're onto something, and just keep going. But in that first year, first 1 to 2 years, I would say, is a real risk of you giving up. Yep. And I am going to deliberately use the term here, giving up, because a lot of people will externalize it and say, oh, my business didn't work because, customers didn't buy.
Yeah,
exactly. You blame. Yeah, the blame game. Customers didn't buy. Okay, well, you gave up because you didn't find out what they wanted. Or I gave up in the first 12 months because I ran out of money. Well, you did probably because you didn't plan appropriately. And could you get someone to go into business with you? Like, if you really believe in what it is that you have to offer the world, you won't give up. So I guess the question that I encourage people to ask all the time is, when times get tough and you feel like giving up, and I've felt that 100 times, like, oh, this is all too much. I think I'm ready to bail out, but I don't. And my business partner doesn't, because we wholeheartedly believe in what we have to offer the world. And when times are tough, that's when we dig deeper and find the courage and the tenacity to take that next step forward. And that's what makes successful business people.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love that. Yes. And double down in those moments. I find that that when you push through it and you have that drive and inertia to keep going, it's almost a magical manifestation. Like, things just kind of start falling into place in those moments, right?
They do. Yeah. I've actually got I've got a couple of big Post-it notes in my office here. And one of them, if I read it, is, I think Tony Robbins first said this, so I love it. It's like, where focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely.
What you're focusing on is what's going to start to come back.
Absolutely. And just to add a piece, beautifully said, 100% agree with everything. People you have around you, huge, especially in the hardest moments.
Yeah.
Because if you're around somebody who's going to keep poking holes and negative and give you negativity, and they're not supportive, that's going to give you the inertia to fall.
Yeah.
Versus being around that uplifting environment, support, and that's something I'm passionate about building, and obviously supporting and helping founders and entrepreneurs grow their businesses. So huge.
Yeah, that does make a real difference, especially like if you look at that room that we were in together for the Heroes Conference, right? Mm-hmm. Every single person I met at that conference was about, how can I help? How can I partner with you? How can I lift you up? And I think if we are in the right rooms with people, and I say rooms metaphorically, because rooms could be conversations, Zoom rooms, physical rooms. When you do surround yourself with the right people and you are going through some tough stuff, 9 times out of 10, the person you're speaking with has probably been there themselves and they've got some good advice for you. But more than anything, they're not going to be that friend who, we all love our friends, but a lot of them would be like, if it's all too hard, just, go and get another job, go and do this. It's like, that's not the answer you want to hear. Right. But when you're in the right room, the answer you'll get is, well, hey, here's what I tried and it worked, so let me help you.
Yeah.
And it makes such a difference.
Yeah, it's huge. It truly is. So you already touched base on this a little bit. I was going to bring up what you do in the moments where you feel challenged the most. And I usually ask about the why. What's your why? Or who is your why? But maybe I'm going to do something new this time.
Sure.
I'm very curious to know, what's your story about even wanting to grow and expand and be a business founder and entrepreneur and real estate investor to begin with? What pushed you? What was that drive inside of you? What's the story there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't look at it so much as a story, but let me kind of see where this goes, because even growing up, I grew up in country South Australia here in Australia. Both of my parents had their own businesses, but essentially, Lauren, they didn't have their own businesses. They'd created a job for themselves. And I saw them, I mean, being in the country, it's, limited opportunity around things too. I saw them struggle a lot. It's not that we necessarily went through a lot of financial hardship, but we weren't the rich family in the neighborhood. We often had hand-me-down clothes, and we were often, on a budget, but we still had a good life. Like, I think my parents did a great job at providing a wonderful environment for myself and my brother. However, there was always a part of me that was like, there's something bigger in the world. The world is just, it's massive. And then going from living in the country to at the age of 20 is when I started traveling the world. So I'm a big traveler. I love the freedom and the opportunity and the learning and the growth that travel brings. And so from a very early age, I always said, I want to never stop experiencing this world and being out there traveling and being in different cultures. So I always had this need to want to keep getting out there and experiencing things. And I just knew that being in a job, by the way, for me, a job is an acronym for just over broke, because everyone I know who's in a job just lives within their means. And I always knew that just having a job and having a couple of weeks off a year just wasn't going to do it. But also as an entrepreneur, the flip side to that is you often never get a holiday. Like, you never get a vacation to take a few weeks off unless you've got your business to the stage that someone's running it for you. So there's this balance there, right? So then coming back to my story is, well, how can I create an environment that allows me to travel and work at the same time, and allows me the freedom to make some choices about that, and hopefully build something to the point that I can live that life that I want. And so very early on, I'm talking like 15 odd years ago, when I first opened my own business for myself. Interestingly enough, I had a consulting business where I did a lot of training, organizational development, stuff like that. What I'd actually done is the same as my parents. I wasn't thinking strategically about it, and I created a job for myself that I was exchanging my time for money. I physically had to be in a place to make that money. And I thought, that's not what I set out for. Had a great idea, but it didn't pan out as I thought. So then, about 7 or 8 years ago now, I started to get into real estate investing in the US. It was more from the lens of, I was hearing all these stories about people being able to work this business from anywhere, and do deals when you don't live in the country and stuff like that. So started to explore it, and just by proxy and keeping learning and growing, here we are today. So now I have literally created this business with my business partner that we can be anywhere in the world. We took time off last year, not time off, but we went to Bali last year for just 10 days. We got up in the morning, we did a couple of hours worth of work, shut the computer, went and spent the rest of the day just relaxing in paradise. And so, wherever you go, you do tend to take your business with you. But if you can start to find those moments of balance, then it's all pretty good.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'm so happy you've built that in your life. That's beautiful.
Not all the time, I'll be honest, right? Most weeks are pretty tough weeks. Like, an average week for us is about 60 to 70 hours. It's full on. And a lot of people, I guess that's the other thing I would say to your audience is, I was having this conversation with a few people at the Heroes Conference, and tell me if you resonate with this, Lauren. People go, I want the riches, I want my own business, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I want to rise to these certain levels of success that I see other people have. And I go, great, that's awesome. Are you willing, for the first 2 years at least, are you willing to never have a vacation, work 60 or 70 hours a week, miss catching up with your friends and family, maybe miss your kid's birthday party because something's happening? You're willing to go through the stress and anxiety of a few different things. Like, are you willing to do all of that? And I think when push comes to shove, a lot of people would go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, there it is. So, I think a lot of people want to get to that optimum level, but they're not willing to really understand what it takes to get there.
Very well said. Yeah, it's the expansion of consciousness in a way where you have to accept a certain state of life. And I take the proactive approach in my life, educate everyone around me. Hey, this is what I'm doing. So they don't take it wrong if they're not entrepreneurs or, family members who aren't business
Yeah.
owners. They don't get it. And then it won't impact you as hard, excuse me, if you were being more proactive as well, because that's also tends to be what holds people back.
Yeah.
It, the relationships closest to them start to, there's a lot of chaos and drama. But if you're being proactive and you find support in that realm, that helps too. But yeah, it's very accurate. I mean, you pretty much marry your work, and you kind of have to. It's a test of strength and endurance, which is
Yeah.
that's why I say it's an expansion of consciousness too,
Yep.
because
It's
if you
always
can
testing you to go, how much do you really want this?
absolutely, and if you can wrap your mind around that and truly get that, it won't hit you nearly as hard as it would if you walked in blind. So very well said and a great topic to talk about.
Yeah.
And being intentionally and proactively it helps tremendously. So yeah, I resonate a lot with that. So
Yeah.
and
Love
for
it.
yeah, and for me, I didn't have entrepreneurs around me or business owners, so it was like a completely new muscle in every direction from when I first,
Same.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, so one last little tidbit. Of course, I'm happy for you to share whatever you would love to share with everyone, but I also want to know how we can help you. What are you currently needing? How can we support you? Who's your perfect referral? Who's your perfect client? All the things.
I feel like this is that moment in Jerry Maguire where Tom Cruise is on the phone and help me help you.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. But that's a great question. So ultimately, like, we are here to help real estate investors of any kind build out their acquisitions marketing system to give them more time back to focus on deal flow and also give them time back to do the stuff they love, right? So any ideal customer is somebody that's either starting out in their real estate journey and perhaps they just need help to get up and running. So we do it. We've got products and services from that element all the way up to maybe people that have been doing this for years, but now they want to get some optimization and streamline their business. Because we do everything, Lauren, from the business design. So design being your strategy, your systems, your processes, all of that stuff that we need to consider, through to your data, your direct mail, your branding, your online marketing, your social presence, like really building out that whole end to end so that you've got the right presence for your prospects to be able to interact really easily with you. And the funny thing is, even some customers that come to us that have been doing this for years, they'll say to me, yeah, I've got a website, and I look at it and I'm like, I can see why people aren't transacting with you. So sometimes people think they've got everything set up, but it's not efficient or effective. So
Right.
we would welcome anyone to come and have a conversation with me about their business, their results, where they need to get efficiencies, what they're looking at from a marketing perspective. And I don't want them to think of marketing as just having a website or just sending a letter. It's not that. Marketing's got to be all about what's your value proposition to the world and what are all the different omni-channel ways that we can get you in front of your prospects, right? So yeah, referring anybody on a website overhaul, even if they just want to do just data and direct mail, like whatever they need, we can certainly help them out with that.
Beautiful. And what is a good way to contact or reach you? How can we get
Yeah, so best thing is to just email me direct. So Alicia at superchargedoffers.com. They can go onto our website, superchargedoffers.com. We are in the process of relaunching a whole new website for ourselves as well. Or they can just give my team a call on 888-538-5478. And it might go to voicemail because my team's always pretty busy. But if you do leave a message, or Neslin, my project manager, will answer and she can book you into a call with me.
beautiful? Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for letting me come on and share my story. And hopefully some of your listeners found this informative and inspiring.
I'm sure they did. I know I did. So thank you again. And everyone watching, y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye.